Welcome back to another weekly analysis video. This analysis is for the week of July 27th, 2025. We'll start off with a weekly review of last week's price action, and then we'll move forward into the analysis. So as you can see on our daily chart here, we actually met 23,328, whereas we fell short of it the previous week by about 8 points, I believe it was. We not only went to that level this week, we surpassed it quite a bit in here. And we went into the relative stop run level. And we'll get into that on the lower time frames. So moving into our hourly chart here, our lower time frame for our weekly review, we opened up in here and notice how it did not go past these blue lines here. This is what I was calling for the weekly analysis of this week. I did not want to see price go beyond these levels if it were to remain bullish. If we were going to retrace, it would obviously go through here, and I did not want to see it go further than this area down in here. But because it was bullish initially, notice how it stayed in here. And then it rallied through 23,328 and into its relative stop run areas in here. Okay. This is a stop run area in here. This is a stop run area in here. And this is taught by an individual named Hope Hiplaka. Now, price did come back later in the week. I believe this was a Tuesday. Swept out the low initially created and then rallied again for a higher high, all-time highs. And notice again how it predominantly stayed within these levels. Very important that that is understood. This theme is underlyingly bullish. Now going into a 15-minute chart for last week, we just see a more detailed and refined view of everything. The initial open in here, dropping down into the level that we did not see, that we were calling for and did not want to see price go below, and then the rally. Again, the sweep lower in here. Notice how it stays within this area, and then another rally for all-time highs in here. Now going into next week, I'm going to be expecting more bullishness. However, I will be waiting for more information initially, but we shall get into that on our next couple of slides. Alright, so now let's dive into the weekly analysis for the upcoming week. And as always, we are starting on our daily chart here. The levels really don't change on the daily chart because this is such a slow moving time frame that nothing really needs to change. So we're still expecting bullishness. Again, I am still calling for 24,057 going into the fall and after the fall. I'd like to see it met this year. We are in the summer months, so as you can see, price action lately has been very restricted. Not necessarily consolidated, but do you see how much resistance we're getting in here? It goes up, down, up, down, up, down. And this is typical of the summer season. This is typical summer price action. So because of the price action that we're getting this summer, it's not being very active, although that could change in the next couple of weeks or so, depending on what happens. Typically this is indicative of a very active fall season, so the months of September going into the end of the year. Usually we see some nice price action during those months if the summer is constricted or has high resistance as we have seen thus far. So nonetheless, I'm still forecasting bullish prices, being mindful of where we're at right now, which is in a premium. So it can retrace, but I am still looking for bullish prices. Alright, so we're now back into the hourly chart. And my next objective for higher prices would be 23,571. I want to see how price behaves in this area. This is a stop run area relative to this level, meaning relative to this level, it could run up this high and still key off this level and go lower for a retracement. So ideally what I want to see is price stay within this area, going no lower than 23,409 and then propelling higher. Ideally, it rallies, comes back down in about the middle of this range here, and then it rallies to 23,571. Not going below here. If we start going below here, it's going to start traveling towards back into 23,328. It might even go lower for that retracement that could happen. Now, I'm not trying to call a top or anything like that, but I'm just trying to be mindful of that there could be a retracement this week. Still anticipating higher prices, however. This level here being my next objective, which is 23,571. And going into our 15-minute chart here, we see a little bit more refinement and a little bit more detail compared to the hourly chart. Everything is still the same. Would prefer to see price stay within this area in here, between 23,490 and 23,409, reaching for our next objective of 23,571. Again, I want to refer back to last week's price action of just how it stayed within this area in here and did not go below it. Yes, we did sweep below this level here on some of these candles there and some of these candles here, but the overall narrative is an underlying bullish theme. So again, we're looking for higher prices still. 23,571 is our objective. Keeping in mind that because we are in a premium relative to our daily chart, which is our higher time frame, that it could retrace. So I will be watching that going into next week and going into the weeks that are coming up as we leave the summer. So with that being said, that is going to conclude the weekly analysis for the week of July 27th, 2025. Take care, and God bless.